why is my car in Texas? So this person had my vehicle already for about 13 or 14 days before I even realized it or found out anything. You need to get me my money, man. This isn't cool. Like, you're putting me in a world of pain right now because my life savings is in that car. Basically, I just was fed, I'm going to pay you tomorrow. I'm going to pay you tomorrow.
Good morning, YouTube. Unfortunately, I am here to bring you some more bad news about dealerships doing shady things. So this is not a video I wanted to do. In fact, I kind of resisted doing it, but some people that I know from the CNC Motors situation reached out to me and asked if I would perhaps look into this for this gentleman whose name is Marcus. And he has quite a story, so I'm going to let him tell the story.
So are you recording all of the nefarious activities?
If you're new to the channel, my name is Dan, and we are in my office. And so I'm going to call Marcus and do like a Zoom call, and we're going to have him explain the situation. This is meant to serve to be a caveat for any of you that are looking to do consignments. We've harped on this a lot. Consignments are very sketchy. They can have lots of bad things happen with them. We've talked about this. We do consignments with our dealership, but we do them differently. So we just have a totally different way of doing it, and we feel like it makes everyone feel a lot more comfortable, and there's a lot less risk. But that's not what this is about. This is about this unfortunate situation. So let's get Marcus on the phone and hear his story, and it's not good. All right, guys, so this is Marcus, and he is going to tell us his situation, which is not good.
Hey, how's it going? Kind of like what you've been covering in the past regarding the CNC. There is another dealer now in Laguna Beach under the name of Alphamotiv LLC. They're located on Laguna Canyon Road. They do high-end vehicles, pretty much anything over, $150,000. I happen to own a GT500 Mustang, 1967 fastback, which I consigned with them. We had communicated via text message mid-July timeframe of 2023, and then basically agreed to, on July 25th, sign an agreement, leave the car with him, and then go about doing a sale for the vehicle. When I dropped off the vehicle to him, I actually entered the showroom. I took photos of my car at the location in front of his building. I took photos of the cars that were inside of it, and everything that was presented, as a whole seemed like legitimate business. From the time period of July 25th through the end of September, we maintained contact periodically, calls, hey, just checking in, seeing how the market is doing, what kind of leads you might have. Where things kind of started taking a turn was at the end of September, where he had advised me that someone was sending an individual to do a full-blown report and inspection on the vehicle, and the outcome of that report would lead to potentially an offer. I waited about a week for that report to come, and I would ask him periodically, hey, can you send me the report? I'd love to see it. And he said it was about 400 pages, and that kind of tipped me off to being a little suspicious. They're not 400 pages. They're not even 40 pages. From there, about a week later, he told me that he had an offer on the vehicle. I listed my vehicle for $250,000. Now I was able to entertain a certain range that could work for me. And he said that he had a solid offer around the 210, and it was a cash deal. The guy's ready to go. He's like, he honestly offered me 200 and I bumped him to 210. I was like, look, just work on him, give him a day or two, and let's go from there. He then calls me and says, look, 210 is like where we're stuck at, basically. Do you want to do the deal or not? Like, I wouldn't walk away from this considering the fact that we've had your car now for about two months, right? And I said, you know what? I really don't want to do it, but I do need the money out of this car. I need to move on, and the car was a great experience, whatever. Let's do it. He says, I'll even reduce my commission from the original 5% that we agreed on in the documentation, and I'll do the deal for $7,500 flat. The contingency here is with the guy is that he had somebody come inspect the vehicle, and there's a couple of paint chips on the front bumper that he wants fixed. That's going to be about $2,500, and I got to talk to my paint guy in order to squeeze it in. All this being said, I said, okay, that seems fair. I could deal with that. So net, I would be leaving with $195,000, right? By the time the 5th came around, he had locked in the deal allegedly with me. He told me that I took a $10,000 deposit since we are doing these little fixes to the vehicle, and the deposit was going to be non-refundable. And all these exchanges happened in text message, so I have all the evidence of all this. I had asked him, hey, I'd like to take my car to Cars and Coffee in Orange County for one last time before it goes into the paint shop and all that stuff. Can we do that? And he was like, oh, bro, like, I wouldn't really risk it taking the car out on the streets again because, it could get damaged. And he was just making up all these reasons why I shouldn't take my car. So now fast forward on to the days to come after the 5th, when he allegedly collected this $10,000 deposit. Basically, I was being told that we were kind of in a holding pattern until the car was being completed. About 1 week into it, he started to tell me that he sent the contract to this particular buyer, that the contract was then signed. And then a week later, he told me that he started to collect the funds, that there was going to be 2 transactions, one for $100,000 and then one for $185,000. In the text messages, because I was like at the gym or something like that, I say, what? Wait, what? I thought he was paying more than that. And he said, well, he had already sent me the $10,000 deposit or something like that. The numbers didn't really add up anyways after he told me that. And I just kind of went along with it. And I was like, oh, okay. From that point of him collecting these 2 transactions of wires, he was telling me, I'm just waiting. It's taking a couple of days. Now we're in the point of the week of the 22nd of October. It's a Monday. And he's telling me, hey, like, I am just waiting for this wire to clear and then you'll be good to go to get paid. Meanwhile, I had asked him, how does this really work? Because if you're dealing with this buyer separately, am I signing any contracts? How does it work with the pink slip? I'm asking him all these questions and he's telling me for confidentiality reasons, I'm not able to tell you who the buyer is or any of that information. We sign with him, then you sign over the title to us once you receive your funds, or you can drop it off to us or whatever the case is, right? And so I'm like, okay, that seems kind of reasonable. And I was like, hey, can you do me a favor and just take a photo of my car inside your shop? I really love the interior with the hexagon lighting that you have, and your flooring is super nice, and you got your really cool logo in the background. I'd really love to have some last photos. He says to me, oh, bro, my shop's under construction. And I'm like, okay. Another day goes by. He says that we're clear to wire you the money, and I don't see the money in my account after I'd given my account information. And then I get suspicious again. And so I say to him on Tuesday, it was the 23rd, this would be the 90-day mark of actually our agreement that we have for the consignment. Well, technically, I should be able to go to that dealership and pick up my car. And I actually did take my keys with me in preparation for that because I felt like something was going on deep down. Well, shop was closed down. No one was there. Kind of asked a couple people and they're like, oh, no one really had any information for me. And so then at that point, I had basically used the tracking device that's in my car to find out that it was actually in Texas. And I viewed the entire history of the tracking device. And I saw that there was personal use after it had came back from Monterey. And I saw that my car left California on the 5th of October, the day that he told me that he took the $10,000 deposit. He had actually been wired the money on the 3rd and 4th of the month on the back end of everything. And those funds had cleared on the 5th. The person who bought my car, he actually had a transport company set up to collect the vehicle and have it transported to Texas. It arrived in Texas on the 10th. So this person had had my vehicle already for about 13 or 14 days before I even realized it or found out anything. When I called him and said to him, do you have something that you need to tell me? No, what do you mean, bro? Just, no, what's up? And I'm like, okay, are you sure you have nothing to tell me? No, why, what's up? And I'm like, why is my car in Texas? When I asked you the other day, when is this customer taking delivery? You told me that it would be the following week. Did you send my car to someone without getting the funds cleared? And you clearly did this without my authorization. You never asked me if you could do any of these things. You told me that you were waiting for funds to clear. That's the authorization you have, is to collect the funds, list it for sale, and then at the point where there's a sale happening, you're supposed to be transferring me the money so that I can give up the title to this new buyer. He went on to tell me that he is knee-deep in some trouble. He had some debts with certain individuals. Some bad business deals happened. Some people did him wrong. Whatever reasons he had, I asked him genuinely, like, are you okay? Because people don't do these kinds of things without some sort of desperation, right? Or motive behind it. And considering the person has been in business for over a year or so, and I have witnessed his sales online, like, the posts that he has, and it seemed like everything was going good for him. But at some point, like I mentioned, something went bad. He told me, I'll have your money tomorrow. I promise you this and that. And at this point in time, I was internally like filled with just anxiety. It was a bad feeling. By this time, it was October 26th when we had this conversation of where the f is my car, basically. Like, I should be pick it up right now. right? Like you've breached this agreement, like bad, like you've used it for personal use, like you sold it from under me, like this wasn't authorized. You didn't follow any of the DMV practices at all. This is like fraud, basically what you've done to me. And I didn't make any threats to him or anything like that. It was just more like empathetic of like, you need to get me my money, man. This isn't cool. Like you're putting me in a world of pain right now because my life savings is in that car. Basically, I just was fed, I'm going to pay you tomorrow. I'm going to pay you tomorrow. What I ended up doing was contacting the Laguna PD. I let them know about the situation, filed an incident report. They advised me to contact San Antonio police to get a visual on the vehicle. I contacted San Antonio police. They sent a squad of like maybe 5 or 6 people to the location and address of this particular house. And pretty much they put eyes on the car. They confirmed that the vehicle was there. They got a visual from the purchaser of the vehicle in terms of documentation that he, in fact, did do a transaction of some sort. I asked the officer to confirm if he had a title. He said that that person could not produce a title nor any registration. We talked about maybe impounding the vehicle. However, you know, due to certain circumstances, those options were not on the table at that particular time. I asked the officer to provide the purchaser's information or my information to the purchaser to give me a call so we can figure out what the backstory is on that.
Man, this is like eerily similar to some of the weird stuff that Clay did with CNC Motors, not paying, selling cars out from under you at a lower price than you agreed upon.
He contacts me and he lets me know, he shares with me the information that he has, some pages of the contract that he signed. He sends me verification of funds that he wired over the 2 transactions. They were cleared on the 3rd and 4th. And, you know, I believed him. I said to him, like, okay, you and I were both scammed and, you know, this is what's going on. I actually have the title. I sent him a photo of the title. I said, this is the title. It's actually in my hands. I noticed that in the text message transcripts with him, you and him, that you were told that the title was there, but you never confirmed the title. You're not going to be able to register this vehicle because you don't have the title for it. So this is a problem for you too. Like, it's not like just a me problem. Up until yesterday, I was in communication with the person who is in possession of my vehicle, also John Castro, who was the consignor at that time. The purchaser of my vehicle started to get a little bit demanding and started to harass me, essentially, in saying that I need to literally fork up the title, that it's rightfully his, and that he owns the vehicle. Look, brother, we both got scammed. We're both in this together, and we should be pursuing, you know, the person who did us wrong.
What happened with the 185,000? Because they got 185,000, right?
Yes.
Like you've seen both sides confirm that money happened. That's what I'm trying to figure out, is why is that money not in your pocket?
Right. So apparently that money was used for another debt that he had, and that's pretty much where that money went. I specifically asked him, how much money do you have in your account right now that you can send me? He literally said to me $10,000. Do I believe it? No. I think that maybe that money went into something else potentially, or it could be sitting in his account right now. We don't really know. My Sunday spent was basically trying to save someone else's car from being a victim of what has happened to me. Me doing that, I don't know that it makes anything feel better for me in terms of my situation. But if I could do that for someone, you know, I would hope someone would do that for me or would have done that for me, right? So now I meet up with friends for a drink and I'm just like offloaded. It's like 4 o'clock in the evening or afternoon. I get a missed call from John Castro. Now, mind you, this is after I haven't heard from him for 2 full days after I texted him and asked him for an update on the money that is owed to me or retrieving my vehicle for me. So now he's inclined to call me. And here is the kicker of all this. It tells me the person in possession of your vehicle called me, and he told me that you were on a hunt to go find the owner of this Camaro and that you're taking the actions necessary to try to stop me from doing business. You know, if you do that, it's going to really mess things up for me. I'm not going to be able to give you your money and this and that. He went on for about 2 minutes, and I just listened to him speak. When he was done, I asked him, are you done? And he said, yeah, that's all I had to say to you. And I said to him, well, you stole my car, basically. You sold it from under me. You lied about where it was. You had the money by the 4th or the 5th of October. We're 30 days into this. And every single day you've given me an excuse since the 27th of the month. And after I'd found out all the truth, I've got all the information. I've got text message records, you know, from him. It looks like you guys are working together. And the fact that he called you to tell you that I was in pursuit of saving this person's car is a huge red flag, man. So I'm going to be upfront with you. I have taken the steps necessary to be actionable. If I don't see my money by Wednesday, 12 p.m., which is the 8th of November, then the proper channels will be contacting. And on top of that, maybe you should consider talking to your family, getting a loan through some individual or something like that, collecting the money and stopping the hurt for everyone else, because all you're doing is selling vehicles, taking the money and moving it in different areas. There's still a gap that needs to be fixed. You need to fix that gap and make things right and get back on track. And I told him, I said, John, I liked you a lot when I first met you, man. I thought you were very charismatic, very nice. It felt sincere to me. I don't know if it was, but he was like, man, those were good times. And, I really just want to get back to that. I had, a couple bumps in the road. And it's like, we all know as human beings that people make mistakes or whatever the case is, but his mistakes now are causing problems for other people, and these are huge, huge mistakes. I said, look, if it was $1,000, I'd probably come to your place of business or whatever and tell you to step outside so that we could fight over it, right? And I'd beat your ass. But this is hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm not going to even make that threat. I'm just going to let the law take its course. He said, okay, bro, you got to do what you got to do. I understand that you're protecting yourself, but if you can't hold tight and all this stuff, then, then I'm probably going to end up disappearing with the cars and the money and whatever. Kind of made it seem like if you expose me, I'm gone, basically. I haven't since spoken with the purchaser of my vehicle, but I have been in contact with the different channels, DMV, investigators, the police and all that stuff. And so they're collecting information and data from me. There is another victim that I had spoken to. He was also scammed out of that vehicle, and he was scammed out of a Ford Cobra as well. This individual also has some DMV reports, police reports and all that stuff. And we're kind of together, working together to kind of create like a bigger case and awareness about this. This evening, I actually got word that another victim was found in the last 2 or 3 weeks. This happened to him. It's I believe, 1965 and a half red Shelby Mustang. We are now trying to get him on board with this. So as of to date, there are 3 victims known at this time. And we're talking about almost $700,000 in money.
Man, you got to cover your ass. Be very careful doing consignments. You really got to make sure you trust these people. And it sucks because every time these deals go bad, it's 2 people that are dealing with a terrible situation, not just one. I have a link to his video in the description below. I'm hoping this doesn't turn into a long series. It certainly doesn't sound like it's as big a deal as CNC. It sounds like it's a handful of cars versus, dozens and dozens of cars. Yeah, I hate producing these videos. They don't make me feel good. I don't like doing them. They're horrible. It's depressing. But I feel like it's an important thing to get out there for helping people get educated and protecting others and hopefully preventing this stuff from happening in the future. We'll see you guys soon. We'll be doing more car stuff, so like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you then.